This video, we will discuss about radicals under week 6 and that is belongs to level 4. Under radicals, we have simplifying radicals. Mayroon tayong adding and subtracting radicals. We also have multiplying radicals and dividing and rationalizing radicals. But first, let me introduce that this perfect square number is, to know this one, this is a prerequisite of solving radical problems. Okay? So yung tinatawag natin na perfect squares, yun yung mga number na kung saan resulta sila ng pag multiply yung number by itself. Okay? Gaya ng 1. So this is the result of multiplying a number and itself. 1 times 1. That is equals to 1. So ito yung tinatawag natin na perfect square. Ganon din yung 4. So 4 is the result of multiplying 2 times 2 or multiplying 2 by itself. So if this is a perfect square, then this one is square root. Okay? Kung si 4 ay perfect square, ito naman ay square root. Ito ay perfect square, ang square root niya ay 3. Itong 16 ay perfect square, yung square root niya ay 4. Ang tawag dito ay perfect square roots na radicand kung nilalagay natin siya sa loob ng radicals. Okay? Let us have identify the parts of radical. So parts of radical, we start with the index. So the index, this is usually located at this part, which is right at the upper right corner of the radical symbol. So si radical symbol, yan yung yan. Okay, ito yung block na to. So this is what we call the radical symbol. So once this is the small number right located right here, once there is no number indicated for index, automatically we will consider that as square root or 2. Bakit hindi siya nakalagay? It is because that is the base of the radical. Okay? So kapag walang nakalagay dyan, automatically that is 2. Now the number inside the radical symbol is what we call the radicand. Itong 8 at saka yung 50. At yung number naman outside of the radical symbol is what we call the coefficient, like this 7. Now, at some point that there are some given radicals that there is no coefficient that is visible to the human eye, ibig sabihin, may 1 yan na nakalagay dyan. Okay, kapag walang nakalagay na number, automatically may 1 yan. Okay? Now, let us have simplifying radicals. To simplify radicals, of course, we have steps. Once na ang radicand natin, yung number inside the radical symbol is not a perfect square, ang gagawin natin, unang step, is to factor out the radicand. Yeah, we have to factor out the radicand. Under that, we have to ensure that one of the factors, isa sa factors niya is largest perfect square. So maraming factors. For example, ay isang number kasi minsan or sometimes maraming factors yon. So we have to choose na dapat isang factor doon ay largest perfect square. And after that, you have to take out the square root of the perfect squared factor. So, take out mo yung perfect squared factor doon. Square root niya. Then, if there is a coefficient, you have to multiply the square root to the coefficient of the radical. Okay? Example number 1. We have square root of 200. So, square root of 200, ang radicand natin is 200. So, you can see here, 200 is not a perfect square number. Now, marami tayong paraan dito. It's either you are going to divide this by 2, by 3, or so on. Okay? So, unang gagawin natin, ito yung I will advise you to do this kung hindi pa natin alam pag-identify ng factors na kung saan, nasa doon ay pinakamalaking perfect square. So, ganito yung gagawin natin. Identify natin ang factors ng 200. Okay? So, we have 1 and 200. 2 and 200, 100. What else? We have 4 and 50. 5 and 40. We also have 8 and 25. 10 and 20. Yan. Sabihin natin, yan yung mga factors ng 200. Now, dito, identify natin saan yung may mga perfect square. So, nandito si 1. Perfect square si 1. Mayroon din dito sa 100, perfect square sa 100. Mayroon din dito sa 4, perfect square sa 4. At saka si 25, perfect square sa 25. Okay. Sa apat na to, saan yung pinakamalaki? You have to identify kung sino yung pinakamalaki sa kanila. So, nandito yon, si 100 yung pinakamalaki. Ibig sabihin, ito yung gagamitin natin na factors na isa-substitute natin sa 200. So, this is square root of 2 times 100. Yan. So, we'll take out the square root of 100. That is 10. And matitira yung walang square root na factor, which is 2 sa loob. And this is the simplified form of square root of 200. Next example, square root of 80. Now, as you can see, 80 is not a perfect square number. So, ganun pa rin gagawin natin. Identify natin yung factors ng 80. So, we'll start with 1 and 80. Okay. Next is 2 and 40. 4 and 20. What else? We have 5 and 16. We have 8 and 10. Yan. So yan, mayroon tayong 5 factors. Now, identify natin ulit kung saan dito may mga perfect square. Of course, si 1, mayroon dito si 4, mayroon si 16. So tatlo sila. So sa tatlong ito, ang pinakamalaki ay si 16. So therefore, ito yung gagamitin natin. Yan. So 5 and 16. So substitute natin dito. 5 times 16. Now, we will take out the square root of 16. Wala namang square root si 5. So, square root of 16 is 4. Then, matitira si 5 sa loob. Yan. So, this is the final answer. Next, square root of 98. Again, 98 is not a perfect square number. So, if that is perfect square number, you can easily find out the square root of that. Again, ang gagawin natin is ganun pa rin. 98. Factors are 1 and 98. Mayroon tayong 2 and 49. Mayroon din tayong, what else? We have 7 and 14. Can we divide this by 4? No, okay. 6. Hindi, okay, so mayroon tayong 3. Okay? So, dito, perfect square si 1 at saka si 49. So, sa dalawa na yan, si 49 yung pinakamalaki. So, dito, ito yung pipiliin natin. So, this is square root of 2 times 49. So, take out natin square root ng 49, that is 7. Matitira sa 2 sa loob. Ayan. So, that is the final answer. Okay, let us move on to adding and subtracting radicals. So in adding and subtracting radicals, and simplifying radicals is the also a prerequisite to this one. You have to apply kung ano yung ginagawa doon sa simplifying radicals dito sa adding and subtracting radicals. Number 1, you can directly add or subtract radicals with the same radicand. So yung mga parehong radicand, you can directly add those one. Next is for radicals with different radicands, factor out the radicands to make una. One factor is the largest perfect square. Ito ay under sa simplifying radicals. Dinagdagan lang natin na the other factor must have similar value to the other factor of the other radicands. So, pag nag-add tayo and subtract ng radicals, of course, mayroong 2 or more radicals na given. So, dapat isa doon sa factors ng bawat radicals na yon ay magkapareho to make another radicand. Okay. Number 3, multiply the square root of to the coefficient of the radicals. So bawat nakuha natin yung square root per radical, multiply natin sa kanilang coefficient kung mayroon mang coefficient. Number 4 is add or subtract the coefficients of the radicals with same radicand and copy the radicand. So yon. Kaya mag-subtract lang tayo ng mga coefficient o mag-add lang tayo ng mga coefficient kapag pareho yung mga radicands natin. We have to copy the radicands. Number 5, keep the radicals with unfactorable radicands. So yung mga radicals na hindi natin na-factor out, hindi natin na-simplify, we have to recopy that. Kung hindi natin siya na-combine doon sa mga ibang radicals. Example tayo dito. So we have to add this one. Please take note that you have to consider first the radicand given. Once they are similar to each other, now we can say that we can directly add or subtract this given. So dito sa given natin, we can see that we only used one radicand, which is square root of 2 or 2. And therefore, we can directly add the coefficients. 2 plus 4 minus, kasi walang nakalagay dito, automatically may 1 yan. Yan. So, ang coefficient muna, 2 plus 4 minus 1. Yan. So, plus, plus, minus, and minus. So, this is equals to 5. Now, ang nakalagay dito sa steps, you have to keep the radicands. Radicands of square root of 2. This is the final answer. Next, 4 square root of 3 minus square root of 12. As you can see here, lahat ng mga term na pwedeng i-simplify, we have to simplify. It's like 4 square root of 3 is simplest form. You have to recopy that. Okay? Hindi natin pwede ito kasing directly i-subtract. Gawa ng hindi pareho yung radicand nila. Radicand ng first term ay 3. Radicand ng second term natin ay 12. So we cannot directly subtract that. We have to find out ways to make it similar. If that is not possible, then that would be the final answer. In this case, we can see that we can simplify square root of 12. So square root of 12, now 12 has a factors of, we can say that 1 and 6, 2, 1 and 12 pala. So sorry, this 1 and 12, 2 and 6. What else? We have 3 times 4. Yan. So those are the factors of 12. So we have to choose 3 and 4. It is because siya yung may pinakamalaking perfect square. Yan. So we'll take out the square root of 4. Copy natin sa first square root of 3. That is minus 2 square root of 3. Now as you can see here, we already now have the same radicand na square root of 3. And for that, we can directly subtract these two coefficients. So 4 minus 2 is 2. Then copy na natin si radicands na square root of 3. Yan. So that is how you add or subtract radicals with different radicands. Final answer, 2 square root of 3. Next example. Yan. So hindi natin pwede directly isa-subtract ng dalawa, but we can simplify. Yan. So for square root of 9, take note that 9 is a perfect square number. So 9 square root of 9 is 3. So 4 times 3, multiply natin yan. Kapag nakuha natin ng square root ang isang number, multiply natin siya sa coefficient niya. Minus 5, square root of 4 is 2. So perfect square din siya, multiply natin sa coefficient. This is 12. 4 times 3 is 12. Minus 5 times 2 na 10. And our final answer would be 2. We all know that lahat ng square root ay positive and negative yon. But in this case, we have to consider the principal roots muna. So doon muna tayo sa principal roots or the positive roots muna mag-focus. Okay. Next example tayo. This is 2 square root of 7 plus 5 square root of 3 minus 4 square root of 3. So this is a simplest form, and simplest form. Since we cannot simplify 3, we cannot simplify factor out 3, cannot factor out 7. So gagawin natin, tingnan natin kung ano yung magkapareho yung radicand. So in this 3, ang parehong radicand is si ito at saka ito. And we can combine that. 5 minus 4 is 1. Diba? So 5 minus 4 is 1. So ito lang makakombine natin dalawa. So 1, copy the radicand na square root of 3 plus 2 square root of 7. So recopy natin to kasi wala siyang kaparihan na radicals dito sa tatlo. Now, hindi pa ito yung magiging final answer natin. It is because ang 1 ay hindi na kailangang isulat. Imaginary number kasi siya. So this is 2 square root of 7 plus square root of 3. So this is our final answer. Yan. Next tayo. Multiplying radicals tayo, okay? So how to multiply radicals? Make sure that the radicals have same index. We can directly multiply the radicals kapag same yung index nila. So we already explained what is index. Number 2 is multiply the coefficients. Kung mayroong mga coefficients except 1, yan, we have to multiply. Consider of course the sign. Number 3 is multiply the numbers under the radical signs, or that is what we call the radicand. Multiply natin yung mga radicands. Whatever the value of radicands is either different to each other or pareho. Basta hindi, it doesn't matter kung hindi sila pareho ng radicand. Basta sundan natin itong steps na to. Okay? You have to multiply the radicands. Next is simplify the resulting radicals. Example, square root of 5 times square root of 10. Step number 1, multiply the coefficients. Wala namang coefficient dyan, maliban sa 1. So 1 times 1 is still 1. Next is multiply natin si radicands. So square root of 5 times 10, that is equals to square root of 50. Now we can factor out 50 by 2 times 25. Okay? So sundan nyo yung ginawa natin kanina kung paano ba hanapin si 2 and 25. By ganito. Ito yung lagi nating gagawin kapag mag-factor out tayo ng radicands. Okay, mayroon tayong 1 and 20, 1 and 50. Mayroon tayong 2 and 25. Mayroon tayong 5 and 10. Yan yung tatlong factors of 50. So pili tayo dito kung saan dito may perfect square. Mayroon si 1, mayroon si 25. But among these two here, si 2 and 25 lang yung may pinakamalaking perfect square. So yan yung gagamitin natin. So that is 2 and 25. We'll take out the square root of 25, which is 5. Matitira si 2 sa loob. Final answer natin. Yan. Example number 2. Multiply the following radicals. So 3 square root of 2 times 5 square root of 8. In this case, multiply natin muna si coefficient. 3 times 5 is 15. Next is, multiply natin si radicands. 2 times 8 is 16. So don't forget the square root, 16. Okay. And we have to simplify the resulting radicals. So square root of 16 is 4. So 15 times the square root of 16 na 4. And therefore, our final answer is 60. That is the final answer. Example number 3. Multiply first the coefficient 1 and 6. So 1 times 6 is 6. Then multiply natin si radicands now 5 and 5. So that is square root of 25. Now, square root of 25 is equals to 5 so, times the coefficient. So that is 30. Perfect square kasi is 25. So final answer is 30. Let us move on to dividing and rationalizing radicals. How to divide or rationalize radicals? So first step is divide or simplify the coefficients. Yan, divide or simplify the coefficients kung mayroon tayong given na coefficients. Again, applicable pa rin dito yung simplify natin yung mga radicals kung pwede i-simplify. Number 2 is the numerator and the denominator are multiplied by the rationalizing factor of the denominator. Then simplify natin. Okay, example tayo. Divide is given. Now, of course, we have to divide first or simplify the coefficient. So, ang coefficient natin ay 1 and 3. So, hindi na natin sila ma-simplify kasi simplest form na. Proceed to the step number 2. Multiply natin sila ng rationalizing factor. So, ang tinatawag natin rationalizing factor is kung ano yung radical ng denominator. Yun yung i-multiply natin both numerator and denominator. So, that is what we call the rationalizing factor. So, square root of 3 yung nandoon sa denominator. So, multiply both by square root of 3. Ang purpose nito is to cancel out the square root under the bar or yung sa denominator. So, multiply natin. Mayroon tayong 3 times 12. So, we have square root of 3 times 12 is 36. Yan. All over 3 times 3. Copy mo natin si 3 dito sa baba. Tapos 3 times 3 is square root of 9. So yan, 3 times 3. Simplify natin. So square root of 36 is also equals to 6. Ang sa baba naman, 3 times square root of 9 is 3. So 6, this is 6 over 9. Now this is not yet in simplest form. So we have to simplify this one. Lowest term natin, ang lowest term niyan ay 2/3. Divide natin by 3. So final answer is 2/3. Yan. Next example tayo. Example number 2. In this example, look at for the coefficients 8 and 2. So 8 and 2, we can divide our coefficients. So 8 divided 2 is 4. Square root of 15 all over square root of 5. Okay. Next is multiply natin siya ng rationalizing factor of the denominator, which is square root of 5. So square root of 5 and square root of 5 for both numerator and denominators. Now this is 4. 5 times 15 is equals to 75. And sa baba naman, 5 times 5 is square root of 25. Simplify natin. So si 25, 75, ang square root niyan, factors niyan ay pwede si 3 and 25. Kasi 25 is yung pinakamalaking factors na kung saan perfect square. So square root of 25 yung sa baba, ito is equals to 5. Okay? Take out natin square root ng 25. So this is equals to 4 times the square root of 25, which is 5. Matitira si 3 sa baba. Sa ilalim ng square root symbol. 5. As you can see, pwede natin itong cancel out si 5. So this is equals to 4 square root of 3. Ang final answer natin. Or you can also multiply directly. Baka pwede nyo i-multiply directly. 20 square root of 3 all over 5. And now divide 20 by 5. So that is 4. 20 divided 5 is 4. Square root of 3. So the same pa rin yan. Yan, the same silang dalawa. Final answer natin is 4 square root of 3. Example number 3. Square root of 7 divided by square root of 3. So we have to rationalize this by multiplying the rationalizing factor, square root of 3. Wala naman silang coefficient. So this is 3 times 7 is square root of 21 all over 3 times 3 is square root of 9. So square root of 9 is, ang square root of 21, wala naman siyang factors na kung saan isa ay perfect square. So matitira siyang square root of 21 dyan. Ito naman, square root of 9 is 3. This is our final answer. Ang 21 kasi, ang factors niya is 3 and 7 lang. So 3, wala siyang, hindi siya perfect square as well as yung 7. So ganito pa rin yung magiging form niya kapag wala siyang perfect square na factor. Okay, example number 4. Dito tayo. Rationalize this one. So as you can see, ang coefficients natin ay 2 and 3. And that is already in simplest form. So we cannot simplify that or divide that since wala na silang lowest term. So proceed to the next step na multiply natin ng rationalization factor, which is square root of 2, kung ano yung dito. Okay? So this is equals to 2, ito yon, times square root of 2. Ito naman dito, copy natin si 3. 2 times 2 is square root of 4. So that is equals to 2 square root of 2 all over 3 times the square root of 4 is 2. Now we can cancel out the 2. So remaining sa taas is square root of 2. Tapos sa baba naman ay si 3. So the final answer would be look like this one. Okay, pwede rin natin ito. Halimbawa, i-proceed natin ito. So 2 square root of 2. Tapos ginawa natin 6 sa baba. Pwede rin naman. Then we have to simplify this one. So by 2, we have square root of 2 or 1/3. Yan. Tapos, kasi si 1 ay imaginary number yan. So, di na natin lalagay yan. So that is square root of 2 over 3. Final answer. So still the same yung magiging result natin. Yan. Okay. So sa PS2, this is all about multiplying radicals and dividing rationalizing radicals. That is for PS2. Sa PS1 naman, nandun is yung simplifying, adding, and subtracting radicals. If you have any concerns and questions about this video discussion, you may PM me on Messenger. And thank you for watching this video.